That was one of the things that we played in the lobby.
Mm-hmm. I remember that being there, but... Okay.
Like, we really became friends, like, over that winter break, right?
Winter break?
Yeah. Like, when there just weren't very many people around anymore.
I thought... was it winter break?
Well, I mean, like, we became, like... Oops. like friends before that, but we really started hanging out.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
During that winter break, because it was like...
I considered the start of us doing Warhammer 40k as time we kind of became closer friends.
When was that exactly?
We were the only ones to actually make a game in the lobby and play it.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out too well.
Yeah. That was hard. That game's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, spend at least $1,000, and then you can start playing.
Yeah. I've taken my faith that the game's good, which I'm not certain that it is. Okay, what am I missing here that the game might be trying to point me towards? Because all I see... Oh. Alright, great.
Watch out for the elevators. There's apparently a lot of them. Oh, look who it is. Wow.
Seriously. That's what we're doing. That's what we're going to do.
I will be interested to see the next game. Because they had a bigger budget, right?
Yeah.
Because this game has recycled a lot.
In the first Devil May Cry, remember there's 3 fights with every boss.
I don't remember that.
Except for Nightmare.
But that's probably
Not
true.
Nightmare. The spider. There's 2 fights with the spider, I believe.
Remember when you go in the sunken boat?
Yeah.
And you shoot the harpoon gun?
Yeah, I do.
That was a weird thing to have in a Devil May Cry game.
Yeah, I remember.
Remember when you do that in Donkey Kong 64?
No. I don't. Oh, that is a series that I want to marathon on stream. Is the Donkey Kong Country games.
Donkey Kong Country? Does that include Donkey Kong 64?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And then that should lead to... I want to play Donkey Kong Country Returns. Did you play those? Like,
No.
you didn't like the 2D games, did you?
I like them fine.
Okay.
You know what game I really like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Oh, yeah. I have
heard
that.
it's great.
Yeah, I have that. We should play it.
Is it great?
Yeah, we can play it in a 2-player, too.
Awesome.
I mean, I don't know if it's great. I haven't... It's one of those games I bought and then never played.
I heard it's great. Like, unironically great.
Yeah. It's one of the greatest platforms ever. His health is really draining quite fast.
That's good. 'Cause I've had enough of this.
At least it's a different fight. It's just the same model. Like, this isn't how I fought him the first time.
That's true. This is a much more boring.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you'd think with all this stuff coming off of him,
Yeah.
he'd have like a better strategy.
And the hitbox on this attack is really, really weird.
Do you ever think about what the world would look like if we had 3 arms?
What a thing to say.
But do you?
No, I can't say
You've
that.
never
I don't.
once thought about that.
No, I haven't.
Have you ever thought about what things would be like if our biology was slightly different in any particular way?
No, I haven't. Take me into your world.
Well, it doesn't have to be anything specific. It's just like you think about all the things that are very specifically designed around our biology, right?
Uh-huh.
Like a keyboard, for example.
Uh-huh.
Like, what would a keyboard look like if we could type with 3 hands? Would it look similar, and we would just also have a hand on the mouse? Or what? What do you think? Just like things like that. Or like, what if
It really depends on where that third hand is.
Well, it's a dick hand, obviously. But
You can't say dick hand when I'm drinking. I'll spit. Get it?
yeah, okay, get it.
Okay.
Or like if all people were on average 1 foot taller.
So like the tallest people, giants would be like 10 feet tall. I really like fantasy giants. And the average taller people would be like 9 feet tall. No, wait, 8 feet tall.
7.
7?
Are you saying the average taller people are 7 feet tall right now?
If you take someone who's very tall.
Yeah, that would be like an above average tall person.
Yeah, okay, that's what I meant. Like if you take the tallest people.
Like I think I'm an average tall person.
Yeah.
I'm like not.
You're like what, 6'3"?
No, I'm 6, like 6'1".
6'1". Okay. I have no reference beyond 6 feet because I've never been able to reach that high.
But like, I'm tall, but not like absurd, like tall in the way that you like really notice it.
Yeah, but muscular wise, also not noticeable.
Yeah, definitely not.
What am I doing? Pushing a pillar through.
And we're reincorporating. Ooh, look, Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
To me, they look like Persona cards. What? Isn't it
Well,
Devil May Cry 4 where you finish the game on a board game? Like Banjo-Kazooie style?
Oh, good job. This is the strategy. Oh, God!
Only I could dodge out of that.
They're over there. This is nonsense. I've said that like 3 times today.
Yeah.
It hasn't not been true any of the times that I've said it, but...
Okay, let's see if I can figure out some kind of pattern here.
Okay, let me know.
Okay, so if they start to blink, they will sink inexplicably.
Sideways.
Yeah.
So I was listening to the Old Hunters soundtrack the other day, because it's great.
The Bloodborne Old Hunter soundtrack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to the Orphan of Kos one, and it's not actually a part of the sound of the song, but I can just hear that shrieking as it plays, that like screaming he does every time he attacks.
Yeah.
It's so ingrained in my mind.
Have you gone back to that DLC content? Have you beaten it more than once?
No.
Okay. I wonder what your second time on the Orphan was. What was the hardest fight in Bloodborne for you?
For me?
Yeah. Was it the Orphan? Because it made you quit the game for like 6 months.
It might be the Orphan.
Okay.
It's either the Orphan or a Breatos.
Breatos? Really?
Yeah, I had a really hard time with that fight.
Interesting.
For whatever reason. Could not tell you why specifically.
Yeah, I beat that one in like 3 tries. I didn't think that one was so bad. Oh, shit.
You gotta be on the cards.
I see. On the Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's definitely meant to be managed in cat mode.
But yeah, those we talked about this briefly before, but those games are interesting. It's like the fights that like really hold people up
Are very personal.
Yeah, it's not like there's some that are definitely like no, that one's just hard. Like I think Ludwig's like that. Like I think most people have a hard time with that one. But
I do think the hardest fight is in Dark Souls 1, the final DLC boss there. Ooh, I made it.
oh, good.
Oh, well.
Oh, that's new though.
Yeah. Wait.
That part's new.
Remember how this fight works?
Wait, hands. we gotta cut the hands. Oh, this is the one that. Oh, that's new too.
Am I dead? No. Can I be dead? Get my health back.
Yes.
Hooray!
The only boss in Bloodborne that I haven't actually beaten is Lawrence.
Lawrence?
Yeah.
Oh, the fire cleric beast?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a great fight. Oh, come on.
I haven't gone back to it. It's the only real reason. Now you're doing what I do. It's like, just get me through this. I'm just gonna speed run strat it.
Get me through this, Jesus.
Lord Jesus, it is a fire.
I'm trying to think of other like weird Kentucky things that I never second guessed.
Trying to think of weird Minnesota ones if I have any.
I think most of my weird childhood came from how family were not Kentuckians. And so I didn't understand things like going to church every Sunday. We were a non-religious family.
Yeah.
But that's such an important part to every single Kentuckian. Well, okay, I don't realize. There's lots of people like me who don't go with it, but you know, your average Kentuckian.
Yeah. That was an interesting thing about, like...
Maybe it's country music? Cowboy boots?
Country music? Cowboy?
There's no cowboys in Kentucky, you fucking idiots. We have horses, yes. You are not driving cattle, dumbass.
There's a reason they're called cowboys
and not horse boys.
boys.
Yeah. At least there's no truck nuts in Kentucky.
Are there not?
No, there are not. I've only seen maybe 1 or 2 pairs. The first truck nuts I ever saw, I did have to go to Texas for. Don't mess with Texas.
Oh, why would you want to?
Why would you want to go to Texas?
Like, I can't imagine living in Texas. I'm sure there are nice places to live in Texas. And I'm, like, it's not even anything in particular to do.
Having gone
with
to
Texas?
my uncle's city, San Antonio, which I think is... Austin's probably bigger than San Antonio, but I do think San Antonio is a nice place. But if you say, I don't know if there's nice places to go in Texas, I'd probably still agree.
Well, it's not that I don't think there's nice places to go in Texas. It's that I feel like I have a similar feeling to Texas that I do with Canada. It's like that, yeah, there are probably a bunch of nice places to go, but you get to pick one. And
because it's so goddamn big.
Yeah, and that's where you are forever.
Yes,
like,
yes.
It's just like a 3-hour drive to anywhere else.
That's what I like about Japan.
And a 10-hour drive to like any other major location.
I can go just, you know, a couple hours to get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's quite different, you know, and the culture, I mean, still within Japanese culture, but hey, look, spider. But in terms of like city culture and city people, they're all very different. You go to Kyoto, it's so different from Tokyo, which is so different from Osaka. And those places are like 2 hours away from each other. But this fight was way faster. Even though I just kind of brute forced my way through it.
I'm not sure there's a better way through it. But yeah, that's another thing that about the U.S. that I'm not like. I wouldn't be thrilled about going back to.
I actually did the same joke again.
Oh, now she punches it a bunch.
Oh, right. Well, do something once. Do it 20 more times.
It's just that, like, the U.S. is so big, it's hard to go, like, really different places.
Yeah.
Like, I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota in the U.S. You know, like, my parents have a cabin that's a 3-hour drive north, and we're still just in Minnesota.
It's too big.
Yeah, it's really big. Like, I think
it would feel less big if there were proper public transport comparison.
Well, there's just no reason for there to be, because it would be super impractical.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. It's this guy again.
Should have figured.
I wonder how he fights when he's not in the water.
Like a big slow dude.
Like a bitch?
He's that way.
He just took more damage than he did during the entire other fight.
I'm gonna die here.
Good.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. Oh wait, she's got technically invulnerability.
But, yeah, it's just like if you were, like, I took a train, once, with my family to Whitefish, Montana, from Minneapolis. And like, if you can picture, can you picture like a map of the U.S. in your head?
Yes, of course.
And do you know where Minnesota is?
Yes.
Montana.
Montana. Yes.
Okay. Well, Whitefish is like in the western part of Montana, towards the north.
Oh my god.
And that was a 20-hour train ride.
Jesus.
And that's like a long distance, but there's a lot more distance to cover in the U.S. still, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's not a lot of practical
Reasons to build true public transport.
right, because it's just like for the amount of like distance you need to travel versus the amount of people that would actually use it.
Yeah. I just like that feeling of train travel.
Oh, I like it too.
Like,
I like it a lot.
little cars with your own little room for it,
Mm-hmm.
and little tiny pull-out beds. I'd travel 20 hours like that for sure.
Yeah.
Like a plane that you can actually stand up and stretch and walk around.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good job.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I like that, but
Did you ever play the Layton games? The second
Professor?
one. Yeah, Professor Layton.
It's an interesting thing to bring up.
Well, the second one takes place. The beginning part takes place on a big old train ride like that, and I love that area so much.
Yeah,
Resident Evil 0 also begins on a train like that.
I remember that. I played that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just like where would you choose the routes to?
Yeah.
It needs to be fast.
It would just be the major city centers, but like I think John Oliver pointed out that if you take the 10 biggest cities in America, you can't even get to number 10 where they still have 1 million people in them.
That was TGT Great.
What was it?
He was bitching about the Electoral College.
Oh yeah. What a weird system, by the way.
Yeah, I mean it's basically garbage.
Yeah. It's terrible, except when it goes in and helps you then.
Well, I mean it just it's a hilarious system. That means your vote doesn't matter, basically. Because your vote is worth less than other people's. Although, for us, do our votes count for...
My
just
vote counts
the last
more because I'm in a
state?
rural state.
Well, are our votes counted as
Oh, because we live
last
abroad.
place we registered, or is there like a pool for abroad votes?
There's a pool for abroad votes, and we count actually quite a bit more than the average person because people living abroad is quite a small number.
Yeah.
Compared-
We're more important.
compared.
Apparently. Oh, yeah, he did.
Yep. It wasn't as bad as last time where we got pulled apart.
Oh, you should run. There you go. Black Panther.
Slow on that uptake.
Yep. I saw that movie too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
When did you go see it?
last weekend.
Oh. I heard it's good. It's either good, just good, or the best thing ever made. What is your take on Black Panther?
I liked it a lot.
Okay. I heard the villain's really interesting.
It depends.
Oh, really?
He's a little more nuanced than your typical comic book villain. He still has that same like Marvel thing where he's just a different colored version of the good guy. Although, I mean, not different colored in terms of skin. I mean,
well, that's always been the case, hasn't it?
No.
What? When was the bad guy a different skin-colored version of the good guy?
No, that's not what I meant. I just meant like they're orange and purple.
Okay.
Or their themes.
I see.
But
Hey, where are we right now?
the city of wealth and power.
Okay.
Cirque du Soleil.
I think this is the end of the stage. That means you get to play again. It is! You
But-
get to play, you get to fight a boss!
Yeah. And like some of the CG wasn't great.
After Angel Attack.
Oh, thank God.
review Black Panther for Angel Attack.
Okay, so some of the CG was pretty not great. It was
Okay.
like very obviously CG.
Okay.
And there was a lot of like bloodless deaths,
Okay.
which was a bit unsettling. Not unsettling, just like it's like oh, okay.
Yeah, it takes you out of it when you're like suddenly thrust out of the movie.
Yeah,
You're thinking about like production stuff.
and so like stuff like that. In that sense,
Mm-hmm.
it was sort of like your standard Marvel movie. But in other senses, I really liked it as a film
Mm-hmm.
because like so like a lot of the action scenes
Mm-hmm.
are like you got your main guy
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like him fighting and then like his supporting cast, and his supporting cast is basically all women
Mm-hmm.
who like just like kick ass in their own right and all have like their own personal motivations and agency and stuff. So like that's something you don't typically see in movies. It's like a strong supporting female cast. And this movie definitely had it, which was nice. So also just like a lot of the like it sort of went back and forth between being like shot just like sort of whatever and being shot like really well. Some of the scenes like look really good in terms of like the cinematography.
How's Andy Serkis?
It's great.
Oh, really? I wanted to see him have a more prominent role ever since Avengers 2.
You know, he's pretty good.